So the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra and the Galaxy Z Fold 7 are two of the highest priced phones on the market today. And in this episode, I want to go ahead and tell you which one I think you should buy. I have to state though that one is going to be more about refinement of a classic smartphone, and one is going to be maybe a literal workstation in your pocket. But I want to go beyond just the spec sheet, those obvious things about this being a slab, this being a portable workstation, and see if this $1,500 investment in either of them is really right for you. So let's go ahead and figure that out in this episode. All right, so hand, feel, and thickness. Now, personally, I gotta state that the Z Fold has got the Galaxy S26 Ultra beat when opened all day long, every day of the week. This thing is incredibly thin. It's so thin, in fact, that I actually use a case to give me a little bit more confidence in not dropping this phone, especially when open, because this thing is razor thin. And I really do like it for its lightweight feel, and finally a foldable that doesn't feel too thick. And then if you go ahead and close it, the phone then becomes basically as thick as like a regular Galaxy S26 Ultra. So I would have to state that the Galaxy S26 Ultra, I think, feels about similar as the Z Fold 7 when it's closed, but a little bit wider, and it looks a little bit slightly taller. So slightly more awkward to hold in its closing position on the S26 Ultra. But the Z Fold 7 when open, always going to be a lot bigger, a little bit more awkward than that over there, but giving you a lot more productivity. However, it does feel much thinner in that respect. So at the end of the day, you go with the Galaxy S26 Ultra if you want probably just a better screen. It's just regular, ready to go, big screen. You don't have to open anything up, anything like that. And then you go with the Z Fold 7 if you want better portability, because when you do close it, it does feel a little bit more narrow, a little bit more compact. And now that it's thin, it doesn't really have that advantage anymore on the S26 Ultra of not feeling thick. It's not necessarily thick, but this one, the Z Folds before were thick. So that's how I look at it now. You can even see from this angle, Z Fold 7 looks a little bit more portable, but then when you open it up, it's more screen than that on the left. So when talking about the display quality on the Galaxy S26 Ultra, I'm going to say pick this one if you want better anti-reflectivity. You do a lot of outdoor use. If you're an outdoor user, like heavy, like you're working on the job outdoors, or you're just on the train a lot, you need a privacy display, you're in public situations where you need that privacy display, and you need that more durability and on the front screen, yeah, it's probably going to be a Galaxy S26 Ultra here as the better, rougher user phone right here. But I will say that it's pretty undeniable the utility of the Galaxy Z Fold 7 when you do open it up. And some users have told me that they stay on that front screen a lot. But man, when you open this thing up, can you really go to town with the multitasking? And it's been really something that still impresses me, even though I've been using it for like 8 months. I'm still like blown away by the usability, specifically of this one, because they went up to 8 inches and it got lighter and thinner. So it finally feels like a proper, mature version of the Fold. And I do love that about this version. What I don't like is it doesn't have S Pen support. But at the end of the day, multitasking on that thing has been really a strong suit for it. So I would say display wise, for pure quality, you're going to probably want to go with the S26 Ultra just because it has, just a really durable, rough for use screen you could use on the outside. Still want to put a screen protector just to protect that investment. But at the same time, it's tried and true. It's a classic slab. Over here on the Galaxy Z Fold 7, though, if you love to consume media, you love to do split screen multitasking, there's no other option. And then the front screen on this is also pretty high end as well. It feels like a smaller Galaxy S26 or something of that sort on the front screen. It's a really good one on the front as well. So that's how I would choose there in display. So when it comes to the S Pen experience, well, there's only one phone that has it here, and it's the Galaxy S26 Ultra. And they're still using their great S Pen Wacom technology. I mean, it's really good stuff here. S Pen Galaxy. It's a really great note jotting tool, scrolling, navigating the phone. And for people who've never had an Ultra, they won't even remember that this doesn't have Bluetooth anymore. Still goes into the body. This time though around, you kind of got to put it in the right way. It is reversible. Like you put it in either way, but it will not slot in there properly unless you put it in the correct way. You have to remember that a bit. But it just really sets this phone apart. The weird thing to me though is that I feel like S Pen is going to be a better experience on an 8-inch inner display. Sans the fact that this display is not glass on the interior, still I think with the Z Fold there's more space to like, draw and do your note taking and stuff of that sort, and not having that S Pen support, you have to use a third-party stylus, is rather annoying for this phone. So I would pick the S26 Ultra if you care about stylus use. I mean, it's the only option here of these two. You could, again, use third party, but it's nowhere near like having a tried and true S Pen experience. So I think we need to get that S Pen experience back on the Z Fold. It's definitely something that I've been missing on this phone. But you have to decide how much are you actually going to use the stylus. Then if you're not using it a lot, I still think the Z Fold 7's productivity and the fact of what this can do still outweighs what the S Pen can do on the S26 Ultra. Let me know if you agree down below. So here's one of the reasons why I would recommend buying the Galaxy Z Fold 7 if you care about productivity. Now, reading websites, of course, with this big 8-inch display here is going to be much better on the Z Fold 7, but mostly because you have like these regular web browser tabs you can do in Google Chrome, for example, or other browsers do it as well. And it gives you more of a tablet or like a MacBook type experience, a Chromebook, any laptop really that can populate all of those areas. Another way it kind of feels like that too is in Sheets. So Excel, Google Sheets, anything like this where you got different cells. Yes, you still have to zoom a little. It's not a full like laptop size screen or anything like that, but you can still get a lot more space and see a lot more things on here than on this screen. Not saying that's a small screen, that's a really large screen on the Galaxy S26 Ultra, but if you do stuff like that, it's really good. And then of course, the split screen multitasking. If you flip this thing into this area, you have even wider kind of like applications here. One of the cons of the Z Fold 7 is in video watching though. So when you're watching video, there are pretty big black bars, and I think Samsung's going to correct this year with the wide fold, but there's going to be different trade-offs to that as well. That's not going to be probably quite as great for productivity. It's going to be better for media consumption. And so you'll have to decide whether you want a regular Fold 8 for productivity or you want more of a media consuming beast with a wider fold. But pinching in, you crop on a lot on the video, and you are going to be like cropping into a lot of like content, and it's not going to look the best it can look. So Z Fold 7 though, overall, it's still a really good video watching. It's still a good video watching experience. On the front, it's also pretty cozy and still big enough to consume a video when you're done with the big wide screen. So overall, I think pretty solid experience there. The thing though is that the Galaxy S26 Ultra's display is just going to be better in the area of video consumption. And here's why. When you're watching a video on here, it doesn't really crop in too much. You have a really wide screen for watching video and big. So I think, when it comes to just pure watching content, this is a really great experience right here because it's mostly like not cropped in too much, not a lot of black bars. And even if you pinch out, you get most of the video right there in hand. So I probably would pick this for this. And also those things I was saying about the tabs, you can lower the scaling in developer options to get tabs on here as well, but it makes them really cramped and small. So it's not really worth mentioning too much. And you can also do split screen multitasking on here, turn this thing sideways, and it also gives you the same, it makes them wider as well, but still useful, but you kind of are working with smaller space. You can also turn this sideways to make it feel a little bit more like a tablet in that form factor, but really the area where you'll really expand the power of the Galaxy S26 Ultra is via DeX. You can also do DeX with the Z Fold 7, but with the Z Fold 7, you don't always need to go into DeX because you have such a large inner screen that sometimes you can just get everything done on that inner screen. When it comes to the cameras though, the Galaxy S26 Ultra blows away the Galaxy Z Fold 7, mostly because it doesn't really sacrifice in any which way. It gives you some of the best regular camera, some of the best zooming, some of the best video. Hold on, let me get that into focus right there. It's going to give you really long zoom. Some of the older Ultras have better telephoto, I feel like, in terms of megapixel count, but you'll see 200 megapixel right here. We also do have 8K video. And the Z Fold 7 does give you some of these features, but it doesn't give you log and LUTs and stuff of that sort. So it's an easy recommend to just buy the S26 Ultra if you are making camera your main thing. But here's the deal. The Z Fold 7, I think for most users, even some people who want to take a lot of photos, is still good enough. One of the cons though is it doesn't look quite as sharp, especially when you start zooming, you get off that main sensor. It doesn't look quite as good. But if you stay on that main 200 megapixel, for the most part, I'm pretty happy with most of the results. However, I still think that they're reserving better cameras for the Ultra. So I still am waiting for the day they put just put the Ultra system in the Z Fold, the full thing, not this one camera thing. And then on the front facing camera, also decent, good enough, not quite as good as S26 Ultra, but it'll get the job done. And that's kind of how I feel about the Z Fold 7. The cameras get the job done, and they're better, especially that main 200 megapixel, than the past. So I don't think anybody's going to be super disappointed with their cameras on the Z Fold 7, but they're not going to be super impressed either. They're going to be like thinking, well, if I would have got that S26 Ultra, I would have got one of those other camera phones. I probably would have better photos, and you'd be right. But you have to weigh how much of that area is important to you versus the utility aspect of the Z Fold 7. Because for me, I feel like personally, I can still get everything I would need to get done on camera here in a pretty good result as well, while having more utility than the S26 Ultra. Let me know your thoughts down below. Another area where I would pick the Galaxy S26 Ultra is in battery endurance. Now, when you are playing a game or something like that, that's going to matter quite a bit. And also when you're using it heavy throughout the day, wake up with 100, you're going to last a couple hours longer on this phone, especially I'm referring to when the Z Fold 7 is open. The Z Fold 7 open does drain significantly more battery than when it's closed, but at the same time, that's where I want to spend most of my time enjoying this glorious inner display. So if you need something more practical and maximum battery life out of the Samsung side, you probably should just go with the S26 Ultra. There's no other question about it. Now, I do think if you want to wait a bit and you're still really interested in a folding phone from Samsung, the Z Fold 8 is probably going to go with a bigger battery, and we probably will see something closer to the S26 Ultra this year. But Z Fold 7 in this comparison, definitely not it. So not amazing. Again, kind of reminds me of the cameras. Good enough, gets the job done, but it's not S26 Ultra impressive. But the S26 Ultra compared to the competitors that it competes with aren't super impressive, isn't super impressive itself. But it is, compared to the Z Fold, pretty impressive. So when talking about durability and longevity, the Galaxy Z Fold 7 does have a crease, and you've seen right there too, it's been doing this thing where if I open it, sometimes it puts a white screen, but this is one of the hardest folds ever to open. It's sealed very well, so that's good for not getting a bunch of dust and stuff in there. But at the same time, you know, this phone does not have quite as good a durability as like a S26 Ultra. You will feel the crease loosen up over time as you use the device, but it's still going to feel pretty durable. When it's closed, you feel pretty confident with it, but it's not when you would feel confident just messing around and not paying attention to its inner display, especially because it is still a delicate inner display. You can scratch that easily with a sharp nail or anything like that. Like if your nail gets a little bit long, you forgot to clip it, you are definitely going to be able to scratch that if you're being a little rough with the phone. So this inner display requires a little bit of paying attention to. But here's what I think happens. Your brain kind of adjusts to the fact that you're using that type of display, and you automatically start to just use it a little softer on the inside. You kind of get used to it. Whereas with this one, you don't even think about it. You're just running around doing whatever with this display because you know it's going to be good to go no matter what it is that you're doing on the phone. So that's kind of what I feel about when it comes to that aspect of durability. I also feel like if you drop the phone closed, the Z Fold 7 is kind of just like a regular smartphone, but they both do have these cameras that stick off the body, and they do create a little wobble on the table. Both of them have a pretty aggressive one. And the screen area though on the S26 Ultra though, I think because it has thinner bezels, if you do drop the phone, you're more likely to get a crack on this phone. You might just damage the corners more on the Z Fold 7, and that inner display would probably be fine. So if you dropped it this form factor, your screen might be done, or at least a little bit messed up on the S26 Ultra, but over here you would at least still have your inner display. So there's a benefit there as well, but let's be real. The rougher user should just go with the S26 Ultra. When it comes to software, Samsung does have the latest version of One UI 8.5 on here. I'm still waiting for it on the Galaxy Z Fold 7, but Z Folds usually get their software updates a little bit after the Ultra line. So if you're caring about like having always the most up-to-date big update from Samsung. I do think the latest Ultra is always going to be their premier flagship that you're going to want to get if you want the fastest updates possible. But what happens usually is once the new Ultra comes out, the previous year Ultra takes a little longer to get the updates, and then the focus becomes on the main current Ultra. That's something I have noticed. But at the same time, the Z Fold 7 lets you utilize, what Samsung is really capable of with Samsung DeX, just like this phone, but the inner display. And the Z Trifold was even a better example of that because that brought the DeX right on the phone. But you have a lot of space to really go to town with the customizability. Putting widgets across this larger screen right here will give you more space to do so. And I just think a person in the right hands, they can get more done simply with the Z Fold 7 on this software. But I do think the way it runs on the Galaxy S26 Ultra feels a little snappier, a little faster, and I do think they give us those updates a little faster on here. So if software update support matters to you, I'd go with the Ultra. If utility of how much you can get done with Samsung software and the customizability of it, you probably would have more fun on the Z Fold 7. So that's how I think about those two. Although you could still have a ton of fun here, it's just a little bit more traditional fun. Like we've had these type of phones for a long time. And one little mention of audio, the S26 Ultra blows away the Z Fold 7, I think, in the actual area of audio. It just sounds a lot crisper to me. This one also has pretty relatively good speakers though as well. Just I think the S26 Ultra has sounded better in my experience. Both of them have really good signal strength, really reliable mobile performance. But at the end of the day, final verdict is buy the S26 Ultra if you want the maximum reliability. Just very durable, very refined, polished phone, and you want the best camera on a Samsung phone. Now, for me, I made a video why I didn't switch. That's because for me personally, my personal opinion, well, I wouldn't say opinion, but my personal use has led me to the Z Fold 7 this go around. Buy the Fold 7 if your primary phone is going to be your primary computer. I mean, this thing is literally a computer in the pocket. You can put this thing in landscape, put it up on a little tripod, use a MagSafe case, get a little tiny foldable keyboard. You are literally going to get most of what you would get done on a laptop computer on this phone, really. Or you can just plug into a monitor and get it done as well. You can also do that with the Samsung S26 Ultra, but this is the portable powerhouse in the pocket. Z Trifold was also a triple folding phone that gave you even more of that, but it came back with the thickness, so it doesn't give you that portable factor of the Z Fold 7. At the end of the day, if you value screen real estate above all else, and you value having just so much more flexibility, it's the Z Fold 7. So that's going to wrap it up here for me. If you found this video helpful, entertaining, informative, it helped you in your research, and you finally made a decision which to get, or if you are deciding to maybe wait for the Z Fold 8, the S27 Ultra, whatever you want to discuss, go ahead and related to this topic, go ahead and drop it down below. Any questions, comments, concerns about the topic, drop them down below. I'd love to talk to you about this. And enjoy the rest of your day, Nick here. Be sure to be well. I'll catch you on the next one, and peace.